January 22, 2019. This is we're going to give you another market update. Reason why is we're at a very critical zone, believe it or not. The holiday, Martin Luther King, just passed in the U.S. Option expiry was last week. We had a great month in January, which a lot of people did not sit there and see at all. And now we're getting ready to head into February and March. February or March are two critical months. Towards the end of February and beginning of March is very critical, just like October is very critical. If the markets typically go down, that's typically at those points where they go for major pullbacks or minor pullbacks or medium, whatever you want to call them. But that's where you really have to pay attention. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing a market update this week, because this week's kind of critical to see exactly what's going on. As normal, we look at both the VIX and the E-mini S&P 500 futures. Here's our lines here, support resistance for the weekly VIX. You could see that basically it's broken the support here 2 weeks ago. Remember, the VIX is inversely related to the stock market. So if the VIX goes down, the stock market goes up and vice versa. So we're now into a bullish consolidation mode as far as the VIX is concerned. On the weekly. The reason why we haven't say bullish trending is because it really hasn't shown a trend here yet. Last week, basically, we held that resistance here, which is a very good sign, and we closed lower than the previous week, which is a good sign. This week, you kind of needed to follow through. What we'll do is look at the daily time frame now to kind of get an insight if it's still following through on a daily basis to sit there and end up on the week going down. So here's the VIX here. And you could see here that this is the bottom of the consolidation pattern right there. So you kind of wanted to break that level there. You could see there's a bearish setup here. You could see a lot of people look at this as a doji, and this could indicate a sign of reversal that happened Friday. But we need to kind of be patient and wait to see exactly what happens this week. As you could see here, everything's looking good to go down. Let's quickly look at the 4-hour just in case. And this is kind of where, if you're looking to reduce your risk and enter some trades and monitor everything closely, this is where you're doing it here. So you could see on a 4-hour, this is looking really good and clean going down. You could see some day and swing resistances here, which is right here at 1868. So we're looking good here to go down. We got a very high probability to retest this low right there. So there is high probability that this market will continue to go up by the end of this week, going into January and so forth. But remember, you have to look at this day by day, but we do have a high probability for the VIX to come down to about 1642, and then we have to wait and see what happens there. If it breaks the 1642, then we will enter a bullish trend at least until the mid to 3/4 going into February, which typically still does happen, believe it or not. So we have to wait and see. Let's quickly look at seasonality. Based on seasonality, there's high probability to go up, as you guys can see. And this is something we started talking about the end of last year and going into this year. How last year January is bullish, and this year had a high probability of being bullish too. Even though it says 56% probability, still has a pattern 3, and so forth. So 2019 had a high probability of being bullish, whereas 2020 and 21 and 23 have a high probability going bearish. So these are probabilities based on historical events. Of course, you have to confirm it with technical analysis. Let's see what February has in hold. And you could see in February here, it has an 80% probability going up. So this kind of confirms what we're seeing from the technical side from here on the VIX, where it's still very strong to go down and to retest that low. So I think we still have a high probability, as long as we maintain these resistances right here to go down right there. We still have a high probability to sit there and go down to retest that low, going into at least 3/4, third week into February. Let's go look at the E-mini now, because we looked at seasonal. Here's the E-mini S&P 500 futures in the weekly. We look at this because it covers a lot more stocks compared to Dow and NASDAQ and so forth. But you could see here quickly, we broke that resistance here. We got to maintain this resistance, which is now a support, in order to be bullish. So we do have a high probability to still keep on going up as long as we maintain this. We got to make sure that we maintain this support right there, which is a minor support. The major support's this one right there that always has to be maintained in order for this market to still have a high probability to come back up here and retest this high or so forth for get into the zone again for this year. So that's basically what the weekly looks like. Let's quickly look at the daily. And you can see on the daily from chart pattern analysis, this is a major support that was being held. Once it broke it here, and you can see this is the first time it ever closed below it, which was December 14. Once it closed below it, it kind of rocketed down and then came back above here. And then the key thing is that here, January 17th, we closed above it and we're maintaining that level. So we got to kind of see what's going to happen here. My concern right now is that we're still below this cloud, which means the sentiment's bearish. In a couple of more days, we'll be bullish, but that means we can't sit there and go down this week or towards today or tomorrow. It can happen right away due to volatility, but we may have a little slight pullback that may occur in the next couple of days before we sit there and start going up, going into February or so forth. This is what the charts look like now. Of course, they could change, but this is basically what the forecast is, and we have to confirm it with our technicals based on what trading time frame we trade. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us at info@eiicapital.com. Thank you.